Well, the kd14, they're pretty impressive. They're certainly an upgrade in certain aspects, downgrade in certain aspects compared to its predecessor. First of all, the cushioning. The zoom area is thicker than kd13. I should revere in Korea by the name of Foremost. Does a lot of dissection. He did that, measured it, compared it, thicker, zoom triple. But the problem is the insole is relatively thinner compared to the kd13s. If you see the heel part, I've only wore this for a couple of games, but it just completely flattened. If you remember I want a shoe that molds to my feet, or I want a sole that molds to my feet, that was the Kobe 6 insole, right? It was hard on the on this outer layer and kind of softer on the inner part, but it was super thin. It just wears out, bottoms out super quickly. This is comparable to the Kobe 6 insoles. I hated that, and I'm shocked that this is the step back they've had in terms of inability to move forward with providing something better than the kd13s in terms of its insole. So the insole is completely flat, the heel is dead. The forefoot, they do have a little bit more, but unfortunately around the toe area, maybe it's because of the rigidity around these the circumference of the insole. This part, I was getting blisters on my big toe area because this was not enough to provide cushioning with the shoe, with the movements and with some in-game play. So yeah, kd13 did not have that issue. kd13 had, I suppose, a more forgiving foam cushioning around the toe area and a more seamless transition from the zoom trouble to the outsole and the midsole, I suppose. So you might want to switch the insole if you face that problem like I did. If you wear Jordan 34s and 35s and you felt like the toe area was a bit hard and you feel you might get blisters around that area, although you do have certain decent amount of zoom and cushioning around the forefoot area, definitely you might want to switch the insole to something else. Even though this is something concaved with a cavity here to provide a bit of a stability with the formation between the insole and the zoom strobel. The kd14, interestingly, the strobel does not stick out as much as the kd13s, even though it's bigger. So it's more flat and uniform. So you can actually put other insoles and not have your insole sliding on top of the zoom strobel. And also the zoom strobel, it's really glued hard with the insole. So I would advise remove the insole first before you start wearing them and heating the shoe up and heating the glue up to provide a molecular bond, and then it's going to be difficult, if not impossible, to remove the insole. And because there's going to be some amount of glue remaining on top of the zoom strobel, if you switch with another insole, there's going to be a decent amount of gluing, I suppose, molecular bond as well if you heat it up as you if you get hot and sweaty inside the shoe. So the insole is going to stay put in its place glued. But if you use ortholite insole, something that's a little bit more, anything is more vulnerable and than this hard area. So if you put that, if you find the insole that works for you, if you wear it for a game, you're not going to be able to remove that without ripping that apart, because there's going to be glue in certain parts of the zoom strobel that's really sticking the insole with the strobel. So that's something you might want to consider. Try removing the insole. Try experimenting with other insoles that works for you. Try especially the toe area. Quick stop and jam your toes there and see if it's too hard or if it's soft enough. If it works for you, good. But for me, like the Jordan 34s and 5s, that toe areas, why did they do that? I guess they thought some people play with their toes up in the air. The heel clutching, the heel cup, it's, as you can tell, it's kind of soft, but I don't mind if it's soft as long as it clutches your foot. But I suppose some people might have some issues. Even if you lace it hard and tight, you might feel a little bit of a vulnerability here, a looseness here. So if you're sensitive about that, well, try the shoe on, see if it ergonomically fits you, or if it doesn't fit you, then you might want to reconsider them if you are going to wear them for performance activities. The strap is meaningless and useless, but they look cool. This little Velcro area might really rip whatever clothes you're wearing. And of course, your shoelace is going to be shredded as well. Something that's kind of a bit of a bummer. The outsole, it's got some squeaking sounds, but it does not really work when there's dust. It's super sensitive to dust. The squeaking sound comes from these little tentacle suction cup type of design, but the kd13 is full of them. So the traction, way better, way more dust insensitive is the kd13. So something you want to consider. The traction, I did not have a strong opinion. I mean, a strong positive impression of this because it's so reminded me of the Zoom Soldier 12s, I think. They did not have great traction. Yep, patterns don't lie. And interestingly, what's great is this little pad around the lateral side. And because of this indentation or this groove here, it actually provides really, really good prevention against ankle rollover. I actually landed on some guy's foot, and this actually helped maintain a level of balance and stability. I should have been completely, doing this with my foot, but it actually provided that break, that sudden stoppage I needed. I'm thinking this deep groove and this pod works nicely in tandem to really, provide that I guess safety mechanism. So there, if you want really solid anti-ankle rollover protection, kd14. If you like Cushionlon, you might want to go for it. But if you do get blisters on your toe area, if you wear some shoes like Jordan 34s and 35s, then yeah, go with the kd13s. Overall, I think still kd13 was a better model. Of course, it's crazy narrow, so don't go for it if you're a wide footer. But man, traction, kd13, appreciating it more after trying the kd14s. Cushioning is certainly an improvement, but the insole, I wish I could replace the 13 insole into the 14s if I were to wear the 14s. Yeah.